So Dr. Vishal Rao will be joining, I think, in the middle of the session only, because he has not yet completed his surgery, it seems, until now. So he said that he'll be joining in bit of the session. And we'll be having Janani in a few more minutes. We'll exactly start by 4:10, please.
Yeah, sure.
I'm really sorry for the delay. We just wanted more participants to also understand how things are and what is the discussion. It has also been practiced in the real time by doctors as well as the implementation people like Mr. Azar, who comes from the international body of TechnoServe. So the TechnoServe is Visa and IKEA Foundation. I think Mr. Azar should say more about himself. I think that would explain to others too about him.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. So before starting this session, there's some do and don'ts also. I request you all, please, switch on your video, okay? And those who are speaking, they only unmute themselves, okay? Rest, please mute yourself during the discussion, okay? So this is a basic hygiene check before starting this online session. Yeah, so before starting up the, Adil, shall we start the session? Or we are waiting for
we'll just wait for just 5 minutes, start the session by 4:10. Just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. Maybe you can just introduce about yourself just to our speakers alone.
Sure. So I have around 12 years of experience, specifically the startups investment in social sector, which includes very specific sectors like agriculture, education, skill development, and some extent to healthcare, specifically a digital ecosystem. So around the last 12 years, approximately 260 plus startups has been funded from the fund that I managed with the support of British government, French government, Indian government. So these people has put in their fund and supported the very early stage startups in the low income states of India. Okay. So with this experience, now currently I am working with managing the accelerator, startup accelerator, which is 100% funded by the Netherlands-based India and Visa. So they actually have a potential to support 400 plus startups in the next 4 years. So every year we have 100 startups in our cohort for the acceleration, incubation, and funding. So this is I'm taking forward overall my experience. I'm not any technical graduate. I am very much, you can say, did a rural management, especially focus on entrepreneurship, rural entrepreneurship, impact, and all. And I started my career in the segment as well with microfinancing, with SHGs, with FPOs. FPOs is pharma producing companies and all. But slowly, when I see the rural problems, specifically in the healthcare system as well, my little bit, intention moved toward this segment as well. And we have funded, supported a few companies into this segment as well. So this is about myself, and happy to know about you panelists as well. I hope when all people will join, so we can start a formal introduction. So the audience will also be understand who are us. Okay. I hope this is okay, Mr. Adil.
Thank you very much. And I think you forgot to mention, I know that you have been like keeping yourself low. He has got 1,000 crore funding from international market to India to support startups. Previously, he was with Willgrow. In Willgrow organization, he got 1,000 crore funding to India. And apart from this, he is directly associated with Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation. And he works various aspects on implementation of various projects in Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation. And not only just Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation, he's associated with around like 4 to 6 foundations like this from international sectors, basically.
Congrats, sir.
So that's the reason I wanted him to come as a moderator to the session because we have Dr. Ratha Damle. She is also a medical doctor. And the most important thing is they are our startup. And so they have been like supporting BBC as well as working with BBC together for a long time. And she is also the scientific entrepreneur and drug discovery researcher in various sectors like pharmacology, clinical medicine, Ayurveda, natural product chemistry, and medical chemistry also. And most importantly, she is an expert in formulation and development of therapeutic herbal medicine and cosmetics. And they have various products in psoriasis, melanoma, acne, hyperpigmentation, anti-aging, and so on. And I think they do have more than 4 lakh molecules with them. And that is one of the biggest. And they work, they do have a bigger team. They work on various clinical, preclinical studies. And I think every day or two, they come with some new products and they have their company, whereas one of the major impactful company from India in Germany and other European countries also. And she worked as research fellow in Tayoma Medical and Pharmaceutical University, Japan, and Ayurveda clinical medical practitioner for more than 20 years, I suppose, in various disorders. And I welcome Dr. Lata Damle for our session. And next we have Dr. Haripriya Sumana Gosakan, am I right?
Gosakan, that's right, sir. No, that's
she's a medical doctor and an entrepreneur. So the concept here is she has a management degree from American University. And apart from this, she is also a BBC starter. The most important thing what she has done is she has a product which is kind of ortho or maybe like an ortho device for replacement, right? So I could say for like food replacement, complete food replacement. And apart from this, she has also worked in Fortune 500 companies, being a doctor. And now she is with, I forgot your hospital you are into, doctor.
Yeah, I work with Apollo and Maitri Hospital part-time, but founded the Rockstands Private Limited to market or get the products to launch this year, prosthetic and orthotic products this year.
And hopefully we'll be launching it from BBC.
Looking forward to Dr.
Hopefully help you with your tech transfer from BBC too.
Excellent.
And she also has the US patent for the product. So PCT patent for the product. And we have, next is, we do have Dr. Mail Wagner. Dr. Mail Wagner is from National Cancer Institute, Adyar, Chennai. So he basically works on two aspects. One is the early diagnosis and therapeutic in various cancers. That also includes cervical cancer. And apart from that, he has also made a kit, which is one of the unique kits in the globe for antibody sandwich detection, right? ELISA-based kit, right, doctor? And the most important thing is he is also working with the HLL Life Care Limited on various technology transfer for his product. And the most important thing what he has done is like he is implementing things for medical doctors in a hospital, that too in a central government-based hospital in cancer hospital in Chennai. And apart from this, he is also working with various oncogenic markers also, creating unique products that could be a $1 billion product also, hopefully. And I would be really happy to be part of you also, Doctor. And we also have Dr. Dakshinamurthy Janani. She's a genetic engineer as well as genetic counselor. She's the founder of GeneAura. And most importantly, she has been awarded with Women's Scientist Award from DST. And also she is the head of PCOS Society of India. And she's the one of the prime members of Women's Reproductive Health in India. And she is also the member of Women's Reproductive Health in Cincinnati, USA. And apart from this, she has trained more than 200 plus, 150 plus genetic counselors in India in handling AGS data into a patient-based, what do you call that, therapeutic, therapeutic as well as the medical details to be given out. And most importantly, she is also working in global human projects on pathophysiology and NGS-based studies. She primarily focused on polycystic ovary syndromes and as well as other gynecological cancers. And apart from this, she has won various awards from various institutes. We welcome Dr. Jenny. I think Dr. Jenny, please come. Dr. Jenny, I think just now she had called me. I think she'll be joining soon. And Dr. Vishal Rao, I think most of you guys will be knowing him. So he is a surgeon and from Royal Society of Medicine also. And Dr. Vishal Rao is presently the regional director of head and neck surgical oncology and robotic surgery, and also the associate dean for Center of Academic Research at Healthcare Global Cancer Center, Bangalore. And the most important thing is he is also a TEDx speaker. He is also an government-based influencer. And most important thing is he has done various wonders during the time of COVID. He has did various devices in the field of what you call vocal surgeries, and also got various products for throat cancer patients, especially like head and neck carcinoma patients. So he has more than 18 plus patents filed. And apart from this, he is also the principal secretary as well as the member of consultate at PSC office, Government of India. So he'll be joining in the middle of the session. So I think Dr. Veerana will welcome the guest also, the panelist, and also please start the session. Dr. Veerana.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So I take this opportunity to welcome you all for this today's panel discussion on opportunities for healthcare startups using digital tech, mainly on artificial intelligence as well as machine learning tools. We are delighted to have you all here with us today as we explore and discuss the intricacies of the important subject, that is digital tech, including AML. We have assembled an esteemed panel of experts who bring a wealth of knowledge and experiences to this conversation. Today's discussion promises to be both enlightening and engaging, and we encourage you to participate actively by sharing your questions as well as insights. So without further delay, let's start it with the panelist. Welcome. And importantly, I want to highlight here, today we are celebrating a Doctor's Day on the occasion of Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy. So he is a eminent physician, freedom fighter, and former Chief Minister of West Bengal, who made a significant contributions to the medical field in India. So he was instrumental in setting up Medical Association and the Medical Council of India. Roy was conferred with the Bharat Ratna Award, the highest civilian honors in the country. That is, he was awarded in February 4th, 1961. And also, we are honors the contributions and sacrifices of the doctors in the field of medicine. So we are here to celebrate and pay tribute to the legendary Dr. B.C. Roy. Yeah, thank you one and all. And I'll now hand it over to the session to moderator, Mr. Azhar. I think no need to introduce him. I think Dr. Adil has already given much more information about the panelists and all. I will directly go with the moderation. So I will hand over into the session to the moderator, Mr. Mohamed Adil. Right now, he is a senior business advisor and is currently serving in the TechnoServe. Just I am giving brief introduction about Mr. Mohamed Adil. He is an entrepreneur with more than 12 years of experience in a startup fund and program management, and he's facilitated an investment of more than 250 plus startups. So he is strengthening and focusing in the startup ecosystem through startup incubation as well as acceleration and investment part. Now I'm handing over to Mr. Azad.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Viranna, Adil, and the panel member as well. So to going forward, we will move like that. We have a 3 major question, okay, and every panel member have a 3 to 4 minute each to speak on each and every question. And after that, maybe a 45 minute we can go with 3 questions, and after that we will open for Q&A for 15 to 30 minutes max to max for the audience as well. Okay. Before going to this panel, I just like to set up the brief. What exactly our audiences and what exactly we are looking from your side. So give me a 1 sec. Okay, fine. So as we are aware that today we are celebrating the Doctors' Day, but yeah, there is a lot of scope that we have seen for the healthcare startup as well. So the health tech startups are innovating to address healthcare challenges. There is no doubt into this. Okay, I have seen a lot of healthcare startups that they're reducing the cost, bringing affordability into rural areas as well. So, and apart from that, with addition to this, the automated support system, especially generative AI, which aims to enhance patient and provider experience, and also reduce the care cost, and advance the population health while emphasizing the health equity. Why I'm talking about the health equity? Because it's very important in the healthcare segment. This health equity is something is in disaster ratios if I compare with the rural, semi-urban and urban. Okay, so somewhere it is very well available, very well affordable as well, but in somewhere it is not. So we will focus more on the how we can emphasize the health equity while using the health tech startup, you can say. Those are using the AI, AR and all. So there is something emerging technologies that we have seen like AI, 3D printing, blockchain, cloud computing, mobile health, and genomics are basically they are revolutionary, okay, in the healthcare overall ecosystem. And now what I see that key startups have opportunities to innovate and thrive, but there is a need in integrating new technology and ensuring equitable access along with ethical consideration. So keeping up with the latest trends and innovations that will be vital to navigate and the complexities of the health tech startup ecosystem and leveraging opportunities, okay, both ways. So, as I say, we are into the middle of 2024, no doubt. And what we have seen that health tech startup continue to take charge of integrating advanced technologies to transform healthcare delivery and patient care profoundly. Okay, and also the several vital trends. Okay, if you see overall trends going on, so there are several vital trends shape the landscape, each promising to address unique challenges within the healthcare sector. While adopting the AI and robotic system is not just about innovation, okay, because I personally not considering AI and robotics only just an innovation. I'm thinking that it's about enhancing the operational capacity of healthcare facilities, okay, especially those doctors or those hospitals or those clinics or whatever XYZ, whatever the customer line in the healthcare ecosystem, especially those who have facing the talent shortage, because we have seen that we have a lot of talent shortages in the rural areas, suburban areas as well. So how this adopting AI and robotic system can reduce this burden on doctors and hospitals. Okay. So by automating tasks ranging from hygiene maintenance to complex surgeries to remote diagnostics, and these technologies support the dual goals of ensuring the well-being of medical professionals and elevating patients' care standard. So this elevation, actually, what I see, if the AI, AR, or any kind of technology help in elevating the patient's care standards and supporting the overall ecosystem by enhancing by multiplying the at least 10x in reaching in personal care, in providing the right kind of consultancy. Okay, so all this stuff, if they are reaching out 10x into the untouched area, also bringing the affordability along that, then maybe we can say the healthcare equity can be built up in future through these technologies. Okay, so through today, through this panel, all audience, especially I also would like to know initiatives that panel member, that you people actually have taken so far in making health equity plus affordability by using technology, which includes, of course, AI and AR, but not limited to this, any technology. Also, how our today our audience, especially startups, innovators, those are in this discussion, will benefit from this. Okay, and how you as a professional help these startups, our audience, to build all these things to integrate their product, their services into the overall ecosystems. So what is your take on that? So for that, so this is about a brief background that I want to set up to the panel member while they answer the questions. So they keep in the mind our audience are innovators and startups, and they are more keen to know how we can make healthcare equity and affordability by utilizing the our ecosystem and our resources. So yeah, so I would like to go with we can start with Mr. Dr. Maila Vahan Bose. Okay, then slowly we'll move to Dr. Lata, then Dr. Haripriya, then Dr. Dr. Janani, and sorry, I forgot. Your name is not visible. Pari guest. Yeah, I think you are mute.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. I just joined 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Okay. So you are Dr. Dr. Vishal.
I'm not a physician. I'm a researcher.
Okay.
Vishal Rao has not yet joined.
Okay, fine. So I think there are 4 panel members.
Just inform when he joins immediately.
Yeah. So there are 4 panel members, Adil, correct?
Yes, Mohamed.
So Dr. Maila Bose, Dr. Lata, Dr. Aditya, and Dr. Chen.
Sure. Thank you so much, Adil, for clarification. So yeah, one by one, we will go. So from my side, I would like to know about yourself first. Okay. I think a brief intro, not specifically in respect to your education and all, but in respect to your innovation that you have done. Okay. No, your experience while bringing the equity, healthcare equity, and affordability. Okay. If you can brief about all these things and how you are integrating this in your current businesses, whatever business that you are doing, what are services you are in, to solve the major problems that healthcare ecosystem are facing. So the 3 minutes to each panelist to answer on this question. Yeah, start with Dr. Maila Vahan Bose.
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Adil for inviting me to this wonderful session. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of this intellectual group. And before I start, I would like to give an introduction of the verses which our advisor used to say. As a clinician, one would serve close to thousands of patients. Okay, but as a researcher, you could serve millions of people. So I'm glad that I'm a part of the second group as a researcher, and I'm glad that I'm affiliated to such an institution wherein they promote research and uh, health, which also helps. It's basically an NGO which also helps a lot of poor and downtrodden people as well. So this is the background of my institution where I come from. This is Cancer Institute, WIA. It's a Women's India Association. And I basically I have a PhD from molecular oncology, and I've been working on cervical cancer and colorectal cancer. So major part of this discussion, I will concentrate more on the cervical cancer, wherein we have come out with a product, and probably at a later stages, I will give a brief intro on what work that we are doing on the colorectal cancer as well. So basically, when I started research way back 15, 17 years back on cervical cancer, when we look into the data of then and now, a lot of things have changed. Those were the times where cervical cancer were the topmost cancers in women. And the crude incidence rate was somewhere between 26 to 27. This I'm talking during 2007 and all. So now the trend has changed. Although the trend has changed, now I believe it is somewhere close to 15, 16. Crude incidence rate, wherein I mentioned that 16 in sense that for every 100,000 population, 16 of the women may get cervical cancer. But unfortunately, the mortality of cervical cancer is still high. And there's very little or no screening program for cervical cancer, especially in a country like India. So we've started addressing this problem through fundings from the DBT or DST. We've got, I was fortunate to be part of a bigger group. My boss was Dr. T. Rajkumar, who was secured a funding for intensification of research in high priority areas. So this was a major funding that we've got way back in 2006 and 7. And the very objective of this program is to develop or identify biomarkers for early detection of major cancers. Like we say that cervix, breast, gastrics, and another Ewing sarcoma was also included in the study. So I basically worked on the cervical cancer. So I'll deal with the cervical cancers of now. So we've started doing a large-scale gene expression studies in cervical cancer, and we've tried to identify specific markers. So when we did this, we found one particular marker, which is a P16, which is highly expressed in even in early stage or precancerous stages of cervical cancer. In CIN 1, 2, and 3. CIN 1, 2, and 3 are precancerous stages. So we could see these markers highly expressed. So we thought that these marker can be effectively used as one of the diagnostic marker for early diagnosis. So P16 as such is not something that we have discovered. It's already been in use. And the problem with the P16 marker is that it's been largely used as a marker in immunohistochemistry. So basically immunohistochemistry is a technique which requires a trained cytologist or pathologist to screen or score the slides. Unfortunately, these tests are subjective, and there are inter-observer variabilities always there. One pathologist may score that it is 2+ or 1 to 2+, whereas the other one may score as a 3+. So this inter-observer variability is always there for the IHC, for that matter, even for the regular pap smears as well. So screening program as such was not at all there in a country like India, specifically where we have a large population of women who are at high risk. So our idea was to develop a simple basic kit for identifying these cervical cancer. So we took this P16 as a marker and started developing a simple ELISA-based technique. So we've developed our own monoclonal antibodies. and we've developed a novel ELISA. Apart from the conventional one, we have a sandwich ELISA, which is a double antibody sandwich ELISA, wherein we coat 2 antibodies as a capture and 2 for the detecting. Conventionally, what you see in the sandwich ELISA is 1 as a capture and 1 as a detecting antibody. So we have developed it as a double antibody sandwich ELISA, and we have shown a proof of concept. So this is basically the work plan that we have done. And it took us quite a lot of time to establish and then standardize all these protocols. Now that we have done and then showed the proof of concept, in a very well annotated cases, close to more than 50 clinical cases of varying degrees of CINs and the invasive cancer. We have also compared it with the normal cervix smear samples as well. So now that we have done and it has been approved, so we have transferred the technology to HLL Lifecare Limited. It's a Government of India enterprise, and they are in process of developing it as a kit for a large scale validation. So as a researcher or a R&D lab, we have our own limitations. We can develop these kits and then validate it only at a small sample sizes. For example, we can develop the monoclonal antibodies, but then we can develop the kits only for a few hundreds of assays. But when we transfer this technology to a company who has the potential to develop as a large scale in an industry scale unit, like thousands and thousands of kits, so it is easier for us to disseminate it across the centers in India so that they can validate it independently and come back to us with the same results. So when this is done, we have technology readiness level of close to 8 to 10, and by that time, if it is ready, then we can probably launch it into the market. Now that we have validated independently by ourselves, we want it to be validated by the external sources as well. So this is the current state of the kit, and if need be, I can detail it at a later stages. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. But at the next stage, when I come to the questions for you, so you be prepared on 2 things. What are the challenges that actually you have faced, okay? And what are the opportunities that you have seen, okay, in developing this kit specifically, and how this actually overall can be complement or supplement to the small startup ecosystem as well. How people can be part of this initiative as well in future, not now, and also how digitization part that you are bringing into this ecosystem, in this your kit, okay? How the design part can multiply the reach of this kit, okay? So you think a little bit on that in the next phase. Okay, next question. I'm going to Dr. Haripriya, okay? The same question to you as well.
Sure. Firstly, thank you, Dr. Adil, and thank you to the esteemed panelists. It's a pleasure to be here today and talk about my journey so far. So there's always innovation has always gotten a lot of a lot of pep and a lot of hype in the past, and more so in healthcare, because over time there's always affordability, accessibility, the benefits, especially if there is the benefit of having a product in a very short space, is always been key with almost all domains, but I think more so in healthcare. So what my work has been in developing a composite or a carbon fiber based prosthetic foot for a transtibial or a below knee amputee, as well as a transfemoral or an above knee amputee. So that is one of our products. The second is an ankle foot orthosis, which supports the ankle foot, especially for patients who may have had ligament tears or at the ankle, or strokes, or potentially even for diabetic foots. And the third, for which as Dr. Adil mentioned, that we have a US patent on, is for a technology which we call the conformable orthotic device specific to wrist orthosis, but it can be applied to any orthotic device for that matter. So how my interest and my entrepreneurial journey developed, especially in prosthetics, is having in post my undergrad, I left for the US, worked there in marketing in a Fortune 500 company, returned back, and found that there were still amputees who were still on crutches, still on wheelchairs, and that for starters struck me very obviously, because up until the time, having worked in the US, been in Europe, I didn't recall immediately the use of crutches and wheelchairs, especially for those who are amputees. So I was a little surprised, and hence the initiation and interest in researching further. And while yes, there are prosthetic feet available in India, but again, the affordability issue was quite significant. And so again, currently the novel technologies, or the most best devices offering mobility and comfort levels, come from advanced materials like composite or carbon fiber. So right now, there's just the imported options are the only one. And given that it's import option, the expense is a huge criteria and huge factor, along with affordability and accessibility. A lot of times we, again, in medical school, we always used to address, a fracture with POP, a plaster of Paris cast, which requires a lot of technical skill. It's messy, a lot of effort. And again, it seemed like there was still the same methodology or the same accessibility. So, and hence a conformable orthotic device, which can be applied anywhere, reusable, and it also helps to reduce the carbon footprint by virtue of it being reusable, and hence in different accessibility areas. Same along the lines of an ankle foot orthosis, which is very much useful for stroke patients. So innovation as it stands, I think it's always has and does offer a lot of benefits in some way or the other, whether it's with accessibility, comfort, improvement in the quality of life, or mobility, or as it pertains to in drug development, especially given any medical condition or health disease can be applied to basically any technology. But given that context, I think it's very important and it's a good discussion to know how a lot of these technologies can be applied in healthcare, because there's a lot of relevance, especially in the current scenario, especially post-COVID and even otherwise. And I think in that context, I think having the discussion about the use of novel technologies in healthcare is quite significant and relevant. So I'm very happy that we're having this discussion here, especially as it's so relevant in the current context.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Adil. I just want to know, maybe in the next round, also help us to understand this carbon fiber. Okay, why is it not available? No one is doing it in India. They're not developing this carbon organization, or how? I mean, is there a huge opportunity for the startups to work on this segment? What do you think? Okay, on this perspective, to start a new startup or to start a new things, especially on this carbon fiber. Is it an opportunity that you see, or what? So this aspects that you bring in the next. Sure. Also, the challenges. This is very important, because our audience are startup. They understand how you can overcome with your challenges. Okay. Sure. Of all this raw material that you are using. Yeah. Thanks. Sure. Yeah. So Dr. Lata, coming to you. Okay. So I request you kindly introduce yourself, and the same question to you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Azhar. Thanks, Dr. Adil, also and BBC for introducing me and giving me this opportunity to share my actually tryst with AI, I could say, how we use it in our workflow. Basically, as it's been already explained, I work with phytochemicals, which are basically compounds extracted from plants and run them through various preclinical and clinical efficacy and toxicity studies to develop precision-based herbal therapeutics and nutraceutics. So how we use AI here is I'll explain. Basically, what we deal with is a huge amount of data. I believe data is the new oil and AI is in refinery. So where there is this huge data, complex and diverse, and yet there is an interrelationship between them. So this is where actually AI, because there is a pattern which can be solved, and healthcare is definitely one such field. And developing an effective medicine or precisely the drug discovery and development is actually the key component of healthcare. And I'm a person who is heavily influenced by the success stories of digoxin, artemisinin, valproate, chemotherapy drugs like doxorubicin, camptothecin. Yes, for those who don't know about these are the very effective modern medicines which are taken from plants actually. In fact, majority of approved FDA drugs are from natural products. Unfortunately, we don't have stories from India, but let's not go into that part of it now. We'll keep it for next discussion. Coming back to this, my passion was always to give a novel compound or evidence-based phytopharmaceutical instead of vague, random, good for everything kind of herbal medicines. So here, actually, to do that, we needed to dissect these crude herbal drugs into its compounds and understand its chemistry and pharmacokinetics. Well, the whole drug discovery industry is $2 billion. That's when my question was, with the existing knowledge of ancient traditional medical knowledge, and with AI, can we have, by incorporating these AI tools, can we hasten this process and get to a compound with, which are useful for the right target? Just to put you in the context, in Ayurveda or in folklore medicines, the plants that we are talking about is the number of plants is about 2,000. And if you see actually today's herbal industry, including nutraceutics, it revolves around 50, 60 plants, which with maybe if I ask someone, they will be able to tell 10 plants, that's all, neem, ashwagandha or curcuma and like that. But actually what we have is number of plants, what we have is 300,000. Imagine that much of the plant, out of which only 6% of the plants have been studied for its bioactivity. We have huge number of data. So to screen each of them on different targets, and we have more than 2,000 disease targets, you all doctors know that. So it's going to be next to impossibility. So we first had to build a virtual library of these plant molecules in a way that it can be well utilized and with confidence can be taken for next phytochemical extraction or through a synthetic route or however. So here, actually, we use the AI algorithms to sift through these published and unpublished data and a very, very difficult Sanskrit literature where NLP techniques of AI and ML were used. So, or English databases where you need to decipher very decoded plant names and things like that. And organized in a way which is, as I said, can be used to screen for next set of activities. Because it's so important, the 3D conformations of these compounds with its STF files, or all these are so important. Because if you see, if I can give you one example, quercetin. Quercetin is a lot been talked about. Quercetin 3-O-glucoside compared to quercetin 3-O-rutinoside. Of course, both compounds are similar compounds, except that they have different amounts of sugar moieties attached. Whereas the latter one, rutinoside, is more stable in the hydrophilic environment. So this can go into the study much with more confidence than taking the other one for the study, because definitely we are going to fail in our next set of studies where the body, this is what we called ADME studies, absorption distribution studies of the compound. So this kind of predictive pharmacokinetics was only possible with the adoption of AI tools actually. So because ultimately, even if you screen, the very popular is garbage in and garbage out. We can't, whatever we give, whatever, we get that. So it is very important to have a right amount of data to go in to get a proper understanding of the chemistry and pharmacokinetics of these. Also, we could, using this database, we can analyze the sustainability of the product, so compounds, because say, for example, resveratrol, everybody knows about this compound, but this is present in some kind of fruits or, very not easily available. Say. So can we find it in some other plants or some other, sources where it is abundantly available, and so that we don't endanger the plant? That's also another. We also have predictive models for dosing studies. This is where we use the AI. And using this right now with all this, we have developed a molecule library, virtual library of 5 lakh molecules from over 300,000 plants. So you can reach the amount of, you can understand our reach, how we can use these into the next step and get to a more, nearer to the very effective medications. In fact, after this, we use this in the regular market available screening softwares where we run on to understand its predictive, again, binding affinities on various disease targets.
Yeah.
So these softwares were also developed by AI models. So this, apart from this solubility of the compounds, why I'm saying is, even if somebody is developing a database which can provide me, I'm saying, because most of these databases that, especially the market available, are the ones which are very expensive. We license from Schrodinger or Cresset from US and UK. With so many engineers, we have AI engineers. I would urge them to have an indigenous software solution for doing this work, actually. So in fact, we are the first herbal company we have employed this kind of screening methods so that we don't fail in the later
sorry
stage.
to interview. We will talk these things in the next question as well. And also, in respect to the virtual library that you have spoken about, okay. So how you can actually ensuring the accuracy of this AI, ML, whatever you're using, okay. We'll talk on this subject as well. And also, while developing this virtual library of which having the multiple languages, old languages, so you have spoken Sanskrit and maybe the Pali language or some other languages as well. So how this can be accuracy will be defined in your business as well. And also you can also comment on how this overall ecosystem of herbal business, okay, can be digitized, or how digitization and how there's no vast media, how the other opportunities apart from developing the herbal medicine, but to promote this, there is many things available as well. Okay, so how the other startups can be focused on in promotion of this herbal medicine, and how the opportunity existing for them as well. Okay, while using the digitization. Thanks. Yeah, Dr. Janani, over to you. Same question, same.
Yeah, thank you. So I must thank Dr. Adil and Dr. Veerana for putting in a very great effort to curate this panel, and bringing in Dr. Seth to be the panelist and shoot questions to us. It's a very difficult part. So good evening to all. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm Dr. Janani from Genora. It is based out of Chennai. But we operate pan Tamil Nadu, and we are into genomic diagnosis and healthcare. So when we started this, when we started genomics in healthcare, there were a couple of things which we noticed and which we wanted to overcome. One is that genomics was very costly. Second thing, patients had to travel to the metro cities to get the genomic testing and genomic diagnosis done. And third, it was only for patients, So no, we wanted to break the stigma. First thing is that genomics is affordable. It is not costly. I would usually, while counseling to my patient, I would tell, when you can afford an Android or an iPhone, you can definitely, invest on genomic testing. It is more economical and more prioritized than that. So no, and plus the rates in the past 5 years have come down to a great extent that everybody it's affordable. It is affordable right now. The second thing, we the first to open genomic clinics in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of Tamil Nadu. So we didn't want the patient to come all the way to Chennai, book a room, stay here for 10 days with the whole family, and then undergo the genetic testings, give the samples for testings and do the counseling. So we had branched out from Chennai to different tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and we are trying to sort. And we have also stepped into the neighboring states of Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. And also from here directly, we've also gone globally. We have certain clinics outside India. The third thing is that it is not for patients. Genomics is for everyone. We can use it for general health. You can use it for wellness, and not just so. Like the common notion is, children with this morphology, somebody with a mental disorder, people with genetic diseases in their families. It's only for them. It is not like that. You can make the genomic data so huge, so versatile. It's a way you repurpose it and make use of it, and give out the reports and make it more actionable to the patients or to the clients who come to us. So the fourth thing which we saw in this sector was that genomic stops, or everything testings, they stopped with the diagnosis. So you have a genetic, you're carrying a gene mutation, and what next? So that is a very big question mark. And because of that, what next? There is nothing else you can do about it. There are a lot of people who were reluctant to take the test, or they didn't want to spend on a test which will not give them answers. So we have progressed from there. In the past 3 years, we've built in a database. 3 to 4 years, we've built in a database, and we have built in a protocol, as in where we make the results more actionable to the patients or to the clients who come to us. We just don't stop with reporting a gene mutation, but in turn find them ways and methods and help them out to make use of it for the betterment of their health or to improve the quality of their life.
Thanks. Yeah, that's.
You said 3 minutes, so yeah, I was prepared only for 3 minutes.
Thank you so much for this brief. Yeah, I think you've done your job well. Thank you, Dr. Janani. I will come back to you with some more clarification and opportunities in this particular genome segment overall, because we have seen DNA traceability and other things can also be part of that. Many labs are now opening in multiple tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. Because everywhere, because
no,
of
the labs don't open in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They have collection points in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Like, see, it is not a very intelligent idea to have several labs, because genomics lab is not a very small investment. And yes, it doesn't run without feed you can give the machine. It is very it is very ideal to have one lab, and it can serve the whole country, but I'm talking about genomic clinics. There's a difference between a genetic lab and a genomic clinic. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. The labs is where the testing happens, there is a diagnosis, but a clinic is where we make use of that information to give solutions to the patients as well as clients. It is beyond the testing. It's a post-test care.
Nice. So I think thanks for clarification also. Yeah. So how this overall infra that you're talking about, set up the clinic in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, how this will cater the overall population by using the other technology tools as well. So we can discuss this in second question. I think we have 2 rounds only. The time is going very fast. So I hope I have given the questions to each and everyone in the first phase. So I request Dr. Maila Vahanan, to talk about the challenges that they have faced, how the opportunity that he has seen for the early stage entrepreneurship and all, and how it's basically, overall digitization can help to maximize your reachability towards the mass-to-mass women, particularly. You are on mute.
Yeah. First of all, I have given a gist of what we have identified, the problem and the solution. But to reach that solution, it took us close to 8 to 10 years of our time. So it's easier said than done, as we all know that. So for developing a monoclonal antibody, that to 4 different types of monoclonal antibody against one single target was a major achievement in the first case. So and then validate it independently. So we had to screen close to 250 to 60 clones independently, and then find out and then shortlist 6 different clones, and from that 6 we took the top 4 best clones, and we have to iterate and reiterate many times and then standardize these protocols to finalize the actual working pair for this double antibody sandwich ELISAs. So once we were done, basically to make things easier to understand, if you do a single antibody sandwich ELISA, so sensitivity was close to at the 100 nanogram level to detect a particular protein. But when we use the same as a double antibody sandwich format, we were able to pick up the sensitivity close to 2 picogram, which is close to 100 times of the sensitivity. But then again, when we actually go through this evaluation process, we have stumbled upon one major problem, that it is not just the sensitivity, it is also the true positiveness or false negativeness should also be addressed. So basically, if you take a cervical smear, so basically when women go for cervical cancer screening, a pap smear is being taken, and this very sample is used for this assay as well. So if you look into it, in a regular cytology, if a woman goes for screening and then the doctor takes a pap smear and then smear it on a slide, and the cytologist or a pathologist will visualize it to see whether there is any abnormal cells there or not. But in case of an ELISA, the problem here is that we'll take the same smear cervical scrape, but instead of putting it on the slide, we have to lyse to release the proteins, that specifically the P16 proteins from the cells. So if the initial sampling is not okay, we will never get to know whether the sample is adequate or whether the sample is taken correctly or not. Even if it is a negative results, there is always a question there. So how do we come out of it? So if it is a negative, whether it is really negative because P16 protein is not there, or whether a issue with the sampling. So to address that, we had to introduce a secondary ELISA, which is a cytokeratin ELISA. Cytokeratin is a very common protein which is present in the all epithelial cells. So we've introduced this secondary ELISA as an internal control, so that when this cytokeratin protein is being observed, we can be sure that the cells are enough at the initial stages. So it is between the P16 and the cytokeratin ratio, we have set a cutoff. So based on which we were able to say that, yes, this initial sampling is good, but still the sample is negative. The same way goes to the positive sample as well. Yes, the sampling is good and the sample is actually positive. I had earlier said that you need the trained pathologists or cytologists for screening all those slides. But in case of an ELISA, you don't need a trained pathologist. In a country like India, we have a very high shortage of trained pathologists or cytologists. So, but when you use this kind of a technology, which is a simple ELISA-based technology, even a technician, if trained properly with a proper cutoff, were able to tell that the sample is either positive or negative. So this has so much of an impact to say, since we do not have a standard screening program, this technology can be easily implemented at the primary health care centers as such. So wherein you don't need hi-fi instruments or microscopes, a simple ELISA reader and a PHC would actually have a refrigerator. The kits can be easily stored on the shelf in the refrigerator, and once and when required, the assays can be done. It's a simple, straightforward sandwich ELISA. So one more advantage in this here is that it has a advantage of being automated. So you don't have to do individual assays every time when, as and when a sample comes. You actually can do that, but our idea is to introduce in a large scale screening program. So if that is the idea, so we need to accelerate it and introduce it as a automated format. So this has an open platform for automation as well, although we do not have it right now, but the chances of automating it is always there. So it can be easily introduced in large scale screening programs. That is the advantage that we have right now.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt, Dr. Tell me those startups who are already in the tier 2, tier 3 rural areas are working on a digitization of the prescription, doctor prescription, retail store, medical store digitization, ASHA, PSC center digitization, and all. So how these people actually will help can help you to make this happen? Do you think the scope is carrying to to provide some kind of business opportunities for such kind of a startup? Those are into the rural infra.
Yes, exactly. But the problem here is that we do have a very good infrastructure like this ASHA centers, wherein these people they collect the patient data and then have it documented. But to do the exact assays, we do not have any startups as of now. So we are also in process of accelerating this in a simple or even more sensitive detection methodology. We are also in process on collaborating with scientists from IITM Madras, who himself has his own startup, Chem Biosense, Professor Sai, and I'm also associated with one of my good friend, Dr. Narayanan here. So they actually bring in expertise from different field, wherein we don't even, in my entire lifetime, I would have not even imagined that as a biomedical scientist would collaborate with someone from an applied mechanics. So these people come in from the applied mechanics with the technology. This is a simple fiber optic device which has the potential to detect these biomolecules even at the attomolar level. I was talking about picomolar level, but they have technologies which have been pre-validated for other biomolecules. But when we try to collaborate, we are trying to incorporate our technology with their devices. A simple U-bent fiber optic device can detect these biomolecules even at a attomolar level. So these again can be easily automated, and we are currently in this process of validating these instruments.
Yeah. So, Doctor, maybe this for all of you, anyone can also comment here. But in a brief, Doctor, see what I see in the, especially in the not tier 2, tier 3 rural areas, even in the urban areas as well, when if there is no value creation in the value chain or supply chain, okay, if the people are not getting the benefit, for example, if the ASHA workers not get some kind of money or some kind of commissions, or same way the PSC members, any member sitting in the PSC is not getting some extra money. I'm sorry to say, but this is a reality in the infrastructure, overall healthcare infrastructure. So if the value system, if the value chain actually is not getting benefited from this initiative, then how you think it should be reached to max women?
Yes, exactly. So I'll address it right now, right away. So if you look into monetization of the technology per se, the idea as such when we started was not to have a bigger profit, because it was always started with an ideation of introducing it into a large scale screening program from day one. So So we never had an idea. So we do have a competitive pick. So cervical cancer detection is not just done by P16 ELISA alone. So we have pap smears and we have HPV testing, which is coming up at high scale. But when you look into the cost benefit ratio, so because this HPV testing can be done in a real-time PCR as well, and then there are different other technologies which are coming up. So on a broader scale, if I have to say that HPV testing would cost around 1,500 rupees, the test or the technology that we are introducing, the cost per sample will be close to 150 to 200 rupees. So it is competitively positioned in the market in the first case. But if you look into the current scenario, we don't want to give it as a standalone kit because we always want it to be introduced as a triaging kit. You people or the doctor, physician can use it for triaging at high risk patients along with HPV testing. But later on, after large scale validation, it can be even introduced as a single standalone kit. So when it goes at that scale and at the larger screening population with a country like India, wherein we do not have a single screening program for cervical cancer. So even at a low cost, covering a larger population, it will have its economic value, I believe.
Understood. So it's fine. So I request Dr. Adil to speak to you separately on this as well. How the startups that we are incubating and other ecosystem partners also incubating, how they can support you to maximize the reach. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And how can you at least monetize at that certain level where at least the last 2-3 value providers can get some benefit to you. Not all, but last 2-3.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you so much for your contribution. I am moving to Dr. Haripriya. I think I have given you some tasks before the.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. I request you kindly highlight on that aspect as well. Okay.
Sure, absolutely. So first, coming to the challenges we faced specific to prosthetics and orthotics as it pertains to composites. So I was reminded of a little bit of a history. So initially, as you know, of course, composites are an advanced material. And, historically, probably, many, in history times, we would just know the use of mud, clay, and then the knowledge of concrete and, plastics, so on and so forth, kept developing. So we are in the current scenario or situation wherein, the knowledge of composites has developed significantly. And also it's significantly recognized along with, nanoparticles and other advanced materials, which has been recognized for its significant contribution. The keys being in general lightweight, whereas having significant strength, which is why it's significant application and benefits as it pertains to prosthetics and orthotics. So the products that we have developed over time with prosthetics and orthotics, it's not just a healthcare product. So the challenges that I faced, I'm a medical doctor with a marketing background. So the product involved the expertise of composites, mechanical engineering, biomechanical inputs, among others. So I've always been a believer of, that which I don't know, have and learn from other experts in the field. So the challenges I face of not being able to understand the background related to composites or biomechanics or engineering disciplines, specifically mechanical or its applications, and how those principles and feedback is very critical. And
so how you are overcome these challenges?
Yes. So yes. Yeah. So what I was coming to say is, so that which I did not have knowledge on, there are a lot of experts out there. So I reached out to composite experts. I reached out to engineers, those who are expertise in mechanics. I have a biomechanical engineer who's worked on prosthetics from Cornell in the US. So worked with prosthetists and orthotists who already have that knowledge. So I think once we understand the challenges, as an example of trying to incorporate certain disciplines and knowledge, that which we individually may not have, that can be collectively gained by reaching out to experts in the respective domains. Which is how that helped me to overcome my challenges in gaining that expertise and thereby learning from those who already have the expertise in the respective domains and incorporating their inputs and feedbacks into my product, and which is why I was able to develop it to the almost time for launch perspective. So those were the challenges. I believe, Ms. Azhar, your second question was about opportunities with carbon fiber. So, so there are the applications of composites are just tremendous right now. As I mentioned, I'm just at a very basic level mentioning two properties of it being lightweight and high strength, waterproof. There's so many that I can expand on. But just as a very basic, just having these two basic principles, so to speak, the application is not only in healthcare, where it's also being used in X-ray tables and MRI machines, so on and so forth, hospital beds. So that's just healthcare alone. But the applications of composites are in everything, in defense, aircraft, drones,
sector, bicycle sector,
the list is endless. So the opportunities in terms of its use is endless, as we all know. Specific to developing those technologies in India. So now we do have suppliers of these materials which weren't there earlier, maybe a decade or so ago. So accessibility to having the basic raw materials to develop technologies using composites is very much feasible and doable right now. So there are a lot of opportunities specific to technologies, for any startup or entrepreneurs interested in advanced materials. It's a good time to explore those possibilities.
Great. Thank you for suggestion. I hope the audience over here, the startups can find out the opportunities into segment. I also convey to a lot of recyclers, okay, those are recycling the batteries, okay, and all other aspects as well. Maybe they can work on this particular carbon as well, okay, carbon fiber, sorry. So I will see how the startup can enjoy such kind of opportunity this coming up in India as well. Yeah, coming to the Dr. Lata, because I just startups willing to know the challenges of building the virtual library, okay, and how you think that the startups can service provider startups specifically can increase the users by using the technology in marketing, okay, in there are several ways. I see there are a lot of blogs, things are coming and people are earning good money out of that. A lot of marketing agency involved in this business as well. So these two aspects, one is the virtual library, how the challenges and how you overcome on that. And second is the opportunity for the digital startup, especially this healthcare system.
Yeah. The challenge-wise, it is basically the hugeness of the data and accuracy of the data, because very, very important would be the accuracy. Then when we think of predictive modeling of these molecules, you need to have a right confirmation. Those chemical aspects of these phytochemicals are very, very hard to predict because of its flexible structures. So when you try to, many a times, so it happens that we come out with duplicacy of the results. So we may have to shelve those. Those are the very important, mainly the accuracy and standardization of these phytochemicals. So that curation becomes very difficult. So it also requires a better understanding of probably the AI tools like your CNN, or where it processes the images in a better way, actually. So probably better engineers will come out with better versions of the library. And also this, as of now, what we have is still a predictive model itself. So it can never, I mean, it cannot become 100% accurate. But still, with the next steps of toxicity and other studies, we will have somewhere more effective therapeutic compounds compared to, when we don't use such kind of libraries. So definitely, I would say another thing is now, as of now, we are using those which are also, the screening softwares that are basically developed in US and UK. The licensing fees are very high. So I think there is an opportunity for accurate, but I have used some of the people who have developed indigenously, but they've not completely kind of validated compared to the existing software solutions. So probably if that comes up, the startups do have a role there to make the solutions better.
Yeah. Also, how this Ayush Ministry are supporting you? Is there any support that they're giving to you?
That's another ball game altogether, because there's a problem with IP actually. So you can't take an IP on any compounds derived from plants actually. So we can only use it with the permission of Biodiversity Board. So it is only possible if you change the chemical structure. That is a different part of work. In fact, we are also working on NCE route, where we do tweak these natural products library works as a lead actually to develop such combinations. But that is there. But as a phytopharmaceutical, we can have, my goal is to give a very, very effective, for example, the product that I have developed for psoriasis is the only product, herbal product that is sold for psoriasis in all medical stores across Europe. So this is, and now we are in the middle of talks where they are taking it for clinical trials there for some skin problem. And, that's a kind of product that we are going to come out. It all depends on the collaborative understanding of chemistry and the AI tools, and in developing this, making this virtual library more robust. I would wish such thing happens.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, if the Ayush Ministry takes up this, I'm sure we can really give very good results and show to the world how the Chinese are doing, which you are not doing, but.
No, so it's a possibility for you to go and present, to pitch. Use Dr. Adil also.
Yes, I will definitely take Dr. Adil's help in this.
Yeah, to go and give recommendation to at least the state government and then to the central government and the state side as well. I understand it will take long time, but
Exactly.
if it happens, then everything will be accelerated in no time. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Lata, for your suggestions.
Just one more thing to add here for Dr. Damle. So we are coming with the alternative medicine lab that also includes the Indian medicine as well as the Ayush and the Chinese medicine lab. I think we'd be really happy to come and support us in creating the lab also for us.
Oh, would love to do that, sir.
And that would be also having this complete library of all the traditional medicines, basically.
Nice.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Adil, for the update. Yeah, Dr. Janani, over to you. You talk about the strengthening the effort, bringing the affordability in genomics. Okay. So how you can see the opportunity for the early stage startups, and what are challenges that especially that you are facing, on ground challenges that cannot be resolved by you maybe, but the other people, the other startups, early stage people through innovations.
Yeah. So first on the challenges part, yes, something innovative is always. Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, a little bit hack and all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So something innovative is always, initially very challenging, and it does face a lot of resistance. But yes, we did a lot of groundwork on this, and the first point which, when I started this, everybody was worried, or was asking me, was about the scalability of the model. Okay. So that I could establish with opening 5 more centers. We could establish that this is a scalable model. Making genetic clinic. But then every locality has its own local needs. This has to be understood, and that has to be met. And you coming from a different setting, it is not very easy to on the first hand understand what is the local environment, what is the local scenario, and get that need met, that need met immediately. It is at this sectors that we usually collaborate, or we make MOUs with the local players over there who are already an established hospital or an established lab, to understand what is the lacunae, or what is it that more we can offer to make the life of their patients even more better. And this is what we've been doing in these areas, and I would say that we are quite successful. So in this journey where how we get overcome this, overcome this is
Sorry, Dr. Chirani, we are not able to hear you.
Some good hospital, fresh hospitals. Is it better now? Hello?
Yeah, now it is better. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Please excuse me. I'm not at my hometown. I'm in Bangalore, in fact, in a conference, attending another conference. So yeah, I understand the resources is limited. The connectivity is limited here. Now it is back to its full potential. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we have been trying to address the understand the local needs, the local requirements of that particular city, or particular area which we're trying to tie up to, by collaborating with the local players there, maybe like hospitals who are just freshly starting and who would want to take up their point of patient care to the next level by incorporating genomics into their routine practices. And by also actually I've through the networking connects which Dr. Adil usually frequently does like this, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of labs who are mushrooming or who are just starting, but with a different vision, and they make use of genomics for for validating certain things in their most of immunotherapy based products, or proteomics based products, like Sir was talking about an ELISA based products, which should have initially started with an sequencing, and then they identify some products to develop a protein kit, protein based assays. So and then they give us the insights on how their local market is, and they introduce us to the market. So this collaboration has actually helped benefited our company a lot, in a lot of way. This is one thing which I see, this networking, and because since we are startup to startup, the vibe is almost same. We understand each other's pain point, and yes, we come forward to work with each other. So that that kind of collaboration is very nice in the startup ecosystem. And I've been fortunate enough to travel with Dr. Adil and meet a lot of startups who from whom I've taken help, and for whom I've also given help. So that's a very nice thing. It's a two-way business over there. So it's always good in that sector. So this has been a challenge and the overcoming journey of it. But yes, we have not overcome everything. We still do have certain challenges, because the genomic itself is very new to the community, and as well as the clinical community, it is very new. And doctors are also trying to learn. They're very proactive. They're trying to learn how to make use of this to make treatments better for their patients, especially in the oncology and the reproductive sector. So oncology is a little more established. Reproductive is my forte, and we're just beginning. It's just in a very nascent stage over there. But yes, we are seeing promising results in that sector too. And wellness is the third industry where we have put maximum usage of this genomics into. So wellness has picked up really well using using the genomics. So these three areas are the major areas, and yes, challenges are there. We're finding out small ways to overcome that. I think you had a question for me on Tier 2 and Tier 3, but then you had a very deep discussion with Dr. Mailwanan on it. So he has answered most of it, yeah.
Yeah, I understood the time is also limited. But yeah, I love to discuss more about this, because I personally working with at least 10 startups. Those are into this ecosystem. Okay, they are especially Dr. Maila Wahanan. For you also, I can bring some of the startups. Those actually working very affordable price to reach out to max people. Also, Dr. Janani, for you as well. There are multiple people are now coming towards this, small clinics, businesses, okay, and reaching out to max people to bring the affordability and sustainability of their businesses. So happy to discuss more about this in coming time and see how we can collaborate with our startups, with BBC startups, and other ecosystem partners startup as well in coming time. So before closing this panel discussion, I request to Dr. Viranna, if you can ask any particular question from the audience, it will be great if one or two questions that we can take. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think Pari is having something. Yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Pari.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Adil, organizing this beautiful session. Thank you, Dr. Virana. And Ms. Azhar is wonderful. And I missed your introduction. I think he seems to be deep into every aspect of healthcare biotechnology. So my question specifically to Dr. Bose, I'm not able to pronounce first name. Cervical cancer, just today for yesterday, Madam Sudha Murthy in Rajya Sabha raised an important question. How Indian women population are going to suffer because of cervical cancer in later part of their life. And it is better to be vaccinated, the young girls at the age of 9 to 14, to bring a preventive measure. Hope you are going to comment on that. And specifically, you said P16 is a biomarker. When it starts, biomarker at what age you are able to trap that biomarker? How is that biomarker concentration level in a healthy population, those who are without cervical cancer? Could you please comment on those?
If you can limit your question with one or two. Okay.
Yeah, these two are over now.
Yeah. Thanks for your interesting question. I'll address the first question now. I believe Dr. Sudhamati was talking about the vaccination program for the women which is available. Unfortunately, in a country like India, I keep on saying this, that who have a very high burden of cervical cancer, not many are even aware that these cervical cancer can be easily prevented by vaccination. So vaccine for cervical cancer is available for the last 15-20 years now, close to 15-20 years now. And unfortunately, it is not affordable then. But now I think several groups have come up with vaccine. Even the Serum Institute by itself have come up with a very affordable vaccine, which costs around 300 to 400 per dose, wherein the one which is available with MNCs would cost around 4,000 to 4,500. So these vaccines are affordable now, and we are also happy to inform that from the institute side, we are also making initiative along with the government of Tamil Nadu to have the individual districts selected, and we are trying to vaccinate young girls at a free of cost. So these are the initiatives which is being taken. And apart from that, it is very unfortunate that not many women are even aware that these vaccines are available for close to 10-15 years now. So these things can be taken up in a large scale to raise the awareness of the availability of the vaccine. It is definitely safety. Earlier, there were safety concerns because of unrelated issues, but it has been proven over the time that it is definitely safe to have the vaccination done. So I would request all the participants or the panelists who are hearing about this, if any of your friends or relatives or even not aware, please suggest them to take the vaccine in first case, which can be 100% used for the prevention. Again, coming to the second question, P16 as such, you were asking that the expression of P16 as such in normal, it is very limited. The expression level increases many-fold as the precancerous stages goes. We have 3 different precancerous stages, CAN 1, 2, and 3. Up to CAN 3, it is easily reversible. I don't know how many of you are even aware that almost all 90% of the women in her lifetime, they might have this HPV infection. But fortunately, because of our immune system, they get it cleared. Unfortunately, for the rest of the 10% of the women, it develops into a cervical cancer. But this development can happen over a period of years. For example, 10 to 15 years it may take from CAN1 to go to the invasive cancer stage. So that is why all of the physicians or the doctors, they recommend regular screening for cervical cancer. Women beyond 25 or 30, 35, it is actually recommended to go for a pap smear checking every 3 years or 3 to 5 years based on their initial results outcome. So this is the case. Specifically for P16, the good thing is that it is highly expressed even in the CANs, the cervical precancerous stages. So if we can detect these P16 at the earlier stages, it can be easily addressed and treated immediately so that we don't have to worry about going to the next stages at all. So that is the state currently.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr.
yes.
Azhar.
Yeah, Dr. Adil has one question. I think this is the last question we'll take, I hope. Yeah.
Good evening, all. Thank you, everyone. I do have 3 questions, and one question is for the moderator also. And my first question is to Dr.
You
Mailu.
are allowed to, sorry, you are allowed to ask only one question. My question you can take separately.
That question is very important for all the startups who are here. That's
Okay,
why
fine.
I wanted to ask you the question too. Dr. Mailu Agnan, first thing is, I think you would have heard about the AMR, which is happening along with all the various diseases. And now it is coming down to the cancer also, where, for example, in your cervical cancer, the human papilloma virus is one of the important causes, and which also like spreads the cervical cancer. And my suggestion here is like, how do you see? But not my suggestion. My question is, how do you see the AMR in the future of cancer vaccines?
So to address your question, I would break it into a different part. Basically, AMR as such, the current scenario is basically addressed for the individual infectious disease. I believe that you are talking about AMR is the resistance being developed for the anti-cancer drugs. So that is a different part, and this is different. So to address the first question, for the infectious disease, AMR, definitely it is coming up at a very high scale, wherein people started calling as a silent pandemic. So whatever drugs that we have, at some point of time, we may not able to clear out the infection even for the very common pathogens. So that is going to be the state moving forward. So it is high time that all of us come together and then try to address this. This is not a one person's issue. It is a issue of the community as such. Everybody should take part, even from the general public to the doctors to all. This is where the One Health approach comes into play exactly. So each and every individual who are into animal husbandry, veterinary, related drugs, everything plays a major role. One of the major things that we have faced is the use of colistin indiscriminately, and we all know that what is the state of it. So the development of resistance for colistin, which is the high grade drug, is even present till now. Although people have made an effort to stop usage of colistin, but still we could find colistin resistant pathogens available. So this is even more problematic in case of cancer patients. Cancer patients as such, they are already highly so what to say, immunocompromised. See, so when they get this kind of an infection, they are at a higher risk. To say it clearly, most of these patients, they die because of their associated infection and not because of the cancer, which is a sorry state to begin with. So it is high time that we address these AMR issues. There are studies, approaches being taken up at high level, even at the ministry level. Basically, most of these approaches are One Health approaches, wherein each individual players who are involved was brought in, is supposed to bring in to address each and every issues related to the AMR. The second thing is about um, getting resistant to the chemotherapeutic drugs, I believe. So that is also a case where, because upon persistent treatment with one particular drug, our body recognizes these drugs and then they create mutations to avoid cell death. So the tumor cells are even more clever than us, so they try to adapt to these kind of a situation. So the scientists and the researchers are constantly evolving and then coming up with new drugs like second and third generation drugs to avoid specific mutation uh, resistance tumors. So these are also an evolving process. So we do have drugs like first generation, second generation, third generation drugs. So initially when a patient comes, we give the first generation drug and it will work for quite some time. And then over a period of treatment, they get resistance. So that is when we see these patients and then again prescribe the second level of drugs. So these are the common problems which is being seen all over the world, not just in country like India, but this has to be an adaptive thing mostly. You can only predict and be adaptive to bring in the second generation or third generation drugs. Unfortunately, we cannot give the third generation drug at the first case. So by doing so also is wrong. So we have to go step by step, even in case of chemotherapy and in case of antimicrobial therapy as well. So that is the.
And my question is to Dr. Azhar, Mr. Azhar now. We do have plenty of startups in healthcare who are more specialized into various things. The first thing is how to approach for international grants for a startup, and how to approach for the CSRs aspect for our startups. For example, like Dr. Ratana Damle has been like doing various things. So how do I, if I am in that shoes, so how do I approach for that? And if there are genomic startups like Dr. Janani and so on, and if there are startups with AI, ML, and digitalizations in healthcare, so how do these startups approach for grants?
Yeah, so I just start with CSR first because this is more understandable to the startup that we are into the BBC. The basic approach is actually to read the CSR to understand their problem statement, their objective. Okay, so if you heard about this yesterday, Mrs. Murthy talking about this cervical cancer, women reach and all, then it must be that Murthy Narayan Foundation will be focused working on this particular segment. Okay. So it is all about the matchmaking. If you know the CSR objective well in hand, their problem statement in hand, okay, and then you go and approach with the solutions. Okay, some problem they are going to resolve, and you have a solution. If the matchmaking happen well, then no CSR will say no to you because they have to spend money before 31st of March. Okay, so they have to give money to the startup via different channels, via you or via either incubators or via any not-for-profit entity. Okay, this is one of the approach to CSR. Okay. Second is in respect to the international grants and all. Of course, most of the international grants are coming on the application basis. So here, the importance for the Indian startup to track, to build a knowledge around this complete application process. Okay, timelines and all. So there are many websites available. They can do on Google search. They are maintaining these applications with their last date and all. So they can go through, they can reach out again, they can do internal matchmaking, which foundations, which international grants actually applicable for their product, for their services. Then we have seen many such grants available, many such grants givers. Okay, but the only thing is right match, right solutions. Okay, maybe solution will be not exactly matching, but at least 50% solution will be matched. So the 50% solution can be built by using the CSR or international grant. Okay. But in some, but you cannot go. For example, if some CSR is funding the goat rearing farm, but you are going to build a AI and a AR for the health tech, then there's no match. Okay. So, but sometimes the CSR looking for or international grant looking for building livelihood, job creation. Maybe your intervention, whatever you are doing, that like Dr. Lata is doing something, maybe her intervention can be generate the livelihood at the certain level, okay, at the farmer level or at the forest tribal level to collect the herbals and all that stuff. Okay. So in this way they can match. Yeah, I am developing the livelihood in the medical space. Okay. Such kind of knowledge, brief matchmaking should be required before approaching any CSR or any grant. I hope it's clear, but there's other process as well. We can go in detail further. Yeah, thank you.
And BBC is now planning to initiate these activities, and we'll be really happy to handle the startups in these activities also.
Thank you so much. Happy to love to do this. Okay, so I hope this panel discussion is going to be end. I hope everyone has enjoyed. Everyone has. I hope I have given a limited time, sufficient time to each and every panelist to talk about your intervention, your challenges, your opportunities. If there is any things I missed or you missed, so this platform will always be open. We have all email IDs or WhatsApp groups. Keep writing to your success stories, to your and how you can integrate the startup ecosystem within your business model. Okay, and how you can get benefit from this, and how vice versa, both can get benefit from each other. Okay, so this is my last note. Anything any of the panel member would like to say? This is one last 1 minute available. They can say, otherwise we can close or hand over to Dr. Adil and Dr. Viranna.
I wish the session was a little more longer time, Mr. Azhar.
Thank you. Next time we will consider.
We'll consider the request. Near future will put a much more longer duration for the panel discussion. Yeah, if no more questions, as we come to a conclusion of our panel discussion, I take this opportunity to extend a heartfelt thank for all our esteemed panelists, Dr. Mahivalan Bose, Dr. Janani, and Dr. Lata Damle, and Dr. Haripriya Gosakan. In absence of even Dr. Vishal Rao, last moment he could not able to attend because of some emergency in the thing. I'm thanking each and everyone panelists who had shared their insights and expertise, who made this session a truly enlightening. Especially they have taken their entrepreneurship journey, how they are embedded this AML in their the journey, how they can take to solve the problem statement, and also use AML in integrating the present business also. Thank you, Ananda, for your enlightening session, and I'm thanking to all the audience and the participants for the active participation, and also the good questions from the audience also. We appreciate your time and look forward to see you all for future events. Thank you, Ananda, and from throughout the BBC management, and also to the our new managing director, Dr. Adil. Yeah, thank you, Ananda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It was
Thank
really
you so
a pleasure.
much.
Thanks.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening to everyone.